What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What's good, people? What is up? What is
They
up?
went from the fourth level of hell and sent us down to the seventh level of hell. Why? Because then you got Kwanzaa pulling out her titties. The whore pulled out her titties. And these whore bags over here started feeling and fondling on her tits. Mike,
I don't have it to do with you. Girl, you can go over there, rant and rave. Girl, you can shake all your rainbow bright hair all you want, dear one. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this with you, dear one. I'm not doing this with you, dear one. I don't have nothing to do with you, and I'm done. Baby, you can scream my name from the rooftops from now till Jesus come back. I'm done after this.
Introduced to Tick's Meat. Do you see what I see? Did y'all really hello, casting, wardrobe, y'all let him roll up out of wardrobe with these fans on, giving us all of this, thinking we were not going to see it? We have been waiting with bated breath and anticipating all season long for the slightest glimpse, and y'all just put it out there this episode in all of its magnificent glory.
Listen, that young man said, baby, you ate on this first date, you giving up the cooch on the first date, okay? Well, you gonna run me my coins. Run me my cooch or run me my coins. Run me my cooch or run me my coins. Run me my cooch or run me my coins. That's our new theme song. That is the new song. Listen, somebody need to put a beat to that. Run me my cooch or run me my coins. Run me my cooch or run me my coins. That's what y'all got going on.
Called out Sandcastle. Sand, bitch. Ow. Oh my God, it was so funny, girl. Woo, baby, listen, let me tell you something.
this shit started to turn into the precursor for some gay porn. That's what I thought it was. Because Big T is getting all, the voice starting to go deeper and get a little more wet and moist and sentimental and all this shit. And it was real gay at this point. Like, I thought the bitches was going to start. I thought Lil Murder was going to turn Big T around and do him like he did Uncle Cliff and do the grease it up with City Lou and ran right in there. It's not a coincidence that Big T started off the conversation by trying to find out if Lil Murder was fucking Mercedes, which he found out he's not. It's also not a coincidence that he started talking about prison. Why? Because the bitches was probably fucking in prison. Uncle Cliff, you better go get your man. Big T got plans for that. Well, he had on look like something Big Bird vomited up or something like that. Like, I did not like it. That Big Bird couture he was going for, it did not work. Like the pastor of a gay mega church on Easter Sunday. Okay, it was way too much sequence. He had on way too much makeup. Baby, his face looked like Yana Van Zam's neckline. Okay, just way too much makeup, clumped in everywhere on his face. Get it together, sweetheart. Like, you're a big girl, so that gives you a whole lot of canvas. So that was a whole lot of makeup, honey. And Rico looked like he was auditioning to be one of the Three Kings, or he was auditioning to be the main character on Jesus Christ Superstar. Girl, Wayne, did you have on a blue thong or a blue G-string or something? If you did, I want to see Cassie. If you up in my DMs, I do want to see if you have a blue thong or a blue, jock strap or something like that. I'd love to see it too. Anyway, but I liked it with the turtleneck. Now, Troy.
Hey y'all, hey, came running over here when I heard Jesus Christ Superstar. That's my cue, and I was a little too far from my seat, so I had to run. Anyway, let me get my drink, y'all. It's a Friday. It's Friday, in the immortal words of one Miss Becky Black. Remember that stupid song back in the day? It's Friday. Remember that stupid song? Hey, y'all. Hey. What's going on, y'all? What is going on? I am here. It's Friday. We got drink in hand. Y'all listen, I almost didn't go live today. I was just going to save it all for Silly Saturday tomorrow. But then I said, no. Let me just come see the people. Hey, everybody. Let me say hey to y'all as y'all come in. Hey, Tracy W. Lemon Kush. Budgets Weights. Volvo. Hey, Cookie. Hey, Tanya. Almost said Tanya. Yana, what's going on, boo? Tracy C. We got the Double Mint twins here. Lil Baby is here. Montrez is here. What's going on, Montrez? I always like to see that cap and gown in the place. Okay, we got Jason here. Hey, Jason. We got Quintessential here. Wait, what message? When did you send me a message, Quintessential? Dear God. Hold on, quintessential. Anyway, I went because yesterday I felt bad. I didn't have any snacks. So I bought a big bag of snacks today. I went and bought a big bag of snacks. So I'm going to open the big bag of snacks because I said I came on this goddamn platform and did not have one snack for our sugar spike moment. So I have snacks today. I have sour punch bites, reds with strawberry, watermelon, cherry, and raspberry. So we're going to open these. Bam. And now we have snacks. Let me see what this tastes like. Well, one of these is not red. How you gonna call it reds, right? Clearly, this is not red. This is purple. But whatever. This is why you need to go to. Hold on. Let me see. Did you just send? Hold on. Did you just send me a Cash App quintessential? Yes, you did. Thank you. Quintessential said in her Cash App message, I better see some good snacks or demerits for you. Okay. I got snacks, quintessential. Thank you so much. And shout out to quintessential. Let me tell you something. Quintessential is a hall monitor. She is a hall monitor. She is a mod and a hall monitor. And she weekly, almost weekly, will send me a Cash App for a just for snacks for the snack fund. Like just because I'm appreciative. I never want her to think I am not appreciative of her looking out for me. Shout out to Quintessential. Wait, Jason used to do adult entertainment. We did talk about some stuff in members only. 2 in the front, 1 in the back. I mean, 5 in the back. Listen, I keep telling y'all, if you are not yet a member, you may want to think about joining membership because you get access to the members only chat. It is a riot over there. Listen. It is a riot over there in the members only chat. They be doing the goddamn thing over there. So yes, but y'all know I'll be here for you. Those are so damn good. I would eat more if I didn't if they didn't tear up my teeth. Okay, this is the first time I bought this pack. Like I've had sour punch bites, but I haven't had this pack with the reds. So I'm gonna see what this gives and go from there. See what this is giving. Okay. Mm-hmm. Y'all, I keep trying to tell the people, members only chat is where it's at. mm. Wait, Jason, there's actual video footage? Wait. Tracy, I expect you to have this in the members only chat. If there's actual video footage, I need this in the members only chat. So listen, y'all. Y'all know it's Friday, and y'all know on Fridays I try not to do too much and talk about too many top stories because we save all our top stories for. We save all our stuff for Silly Saturday. You know, Silly Saturday is tomorrow. I will be here for Silly Saturday. I will probably start prepping for Silly Saturday this evening. It's like 4 or 5 hours of prep for Silly Saturday. Lord. Listen. Y'all, oh God, we talk about dildos. If you don't get those red velvet cream pies, you will be on the wall. And you know what? I know what you're talking about. Oh, you talk about my oh, wait, cream pies or my cookie? You talk about the cookies? You know what, quintessential? I went by Publix earlier this morning and I was in the cookie aisle. I didn't see them. Maybe I missed them. I'm gonna go back again. Let me make a note to myself that I need to go by Publix and get answer because I looked for them. I specifically did. I'm gonna go look for them again. What I did find is Talenti ice cream was on sale again. Buy one get one free. And if it's buy one get one free, you don't have to buy the two at Publix. You could just buy the one, and it's half off. But they don't say half off. They just call it buy one get one free instead of calling it half off when it's really half off at Publix. If it's buy one get one free, I found out when Publix is like one of your favorite stores, you find out that that really means half off. hmm I'm just saying. But so what I am going to talk about today, because I don't want to drag out Silly Saturday with it tomorrow. So we'll talk about Quentin today and then just shoot the shit. Let me drop a link for anybody that want to come up. Um, because I don't want to drag out Silly Saturday with it. Hey Harold, you need Harold. I'm already on. Listen, I already started Harold. We all need to drink. Everybody pour a goddamn drink. Pour a goddamn drink. Ciao. Ciao. Oh, there go my. She came right up too. Look at my girl coming right on up. What's going on, boo?
Hey there, can you hear me? Can you
I
hear me?
sure can.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yes, ma'am.
I only came up here for a brief moment since you're talking about our dear friend, Mr. Quentin Latham.
Mm.
But get those oatmeal, I mean, sorry, the red velvet cookies. I've been waiting on you to
I
get
went this
those, and you did it
morning.
one time. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. I went this morning, right? I was on the cookie aisle, and I actually was looking for them, and they wasn't there. Now I might have missed it, or maybe they was out. I'm gonna go back later tonight because
Okay.
when you go to Publix don't go too long without something.
Oh,
Baby, they
okay.
already know if I go there and it's not there, I'm going to customer service, and they gonna get when they get a new pack. I mean,
hmm
new shipment. They might give me one for free, much as they know me up there.
Okay, we don't have no Publix in this area, but you need to. I need to see that on screen when you
You
finally
know, the
get to
people
it.
be lying and say I work for Publix, God. I need to go get me a Publix uniform, Lord.
Well, I did address you in the chat as Dr. L. Teddy. I did do that.
I do the best I can. I do the best I can.
But go ahead. What you gonna say
Listen,
about Mister our
I'm gonna show
favorite?
the video. I did. I want to show the video of his alleged apology. God of
Mm,
mercy,
mm-hmm.
God of love.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let me get it queued up. But let me try to get it queued up. Hold on. So, but it was a mess. We know what he said originally, right? It was
Right.
a whole mess. A whole mess. Let me do this and present screen,
Okay.
and then we're gonna do I think that one. Yep. And there we go.
Al Reynolds, what's up, Al?
Hey, Claudia, what's going on?
Chilling, chilling on this fine Thursday night. And please welcome Funky Dineva. What's up, Q?
Uh,
Hi.
Hi. So listen, y'all, while I got the people on the line, y'all know how this goes, right? When you work somewhere and something controversial happens, the company comes out and makes a statement, or the person that works for the company comes out and makes a statement. And I always sit on this very platform and be like, that shit was so fake. Ain't nobody believing in this prefabricated statement that this person read and it's phony. And with that being said, I'm not going to give y'all one, right? I did get the phone call. I did get the email. We think that you should provide an apology and show some remorse. And I didn't want to get up here and just say some regurgitated stuff that I was encouraged to say, because y'all are not going to believe it anyway, and it wouldn't be believable, especially considering the fact that I said what I said with my whole chest. I 100% stand 10 toes down on the fact that I think Chloe Bailey is inauthentic when it comes to her as an artist. I think that the sexual image that she gives sometimes is unbelievable. And I think that in her defending her sister, the whole, clapping back, and I just thought it was inauthentic. I do. But I also recognize that that's probably where my commentary should have started and stopped. I don't have my head too far up my own ass or so far in my own ego that I can't recognize the fact that I did cross the line when I started talking about her looks. That was below the belt. It was unnecessary, and it was non-germane to the story at hand. And for that, I do apologize. So again, I apologize for going below the belt when referencing Chloe Bailey's looks. They had nothing to do with the story at hand. And this was a learning lesson, and I hope to move forward and not repeat it.
People were thinking that there was like a personal thing with you guys. Like, did she do something? Was it like a background? Because how you came for the look so hard. Like, was there anything personal? Was it just you?
No, I personally don't think I came super hard, but I also recognize the fact too that Chloe is unproblematic, especially with the Black community. She don't bother nobody. Even I have to say that. And so people are going to be extra sensitive when it comes to our unproblematic princesses in the community. So, I totally get it. And like I said, I look back on it and realize the looks portion of my comments is where the line was crossed. And I do apologize for that.
I appreciate you doing that. I definitely had a lot of messages in my inbox, especially Black women. They're like, he's coming for us, and we support him the most. And I think a lot of women were definitely hurt by that.
I understand. I totally understand it.
Okay. All right, y'all. Y'all drinking tonight?
We're not gonna do this. First of all, that was not an apology. It really wasn't. He stood in. I know it's gonna not sound favorable, but I can stand with the fact that he did stand in the ridiculousness and the insulting things that he said, because he stood in that. He said, well, you know what? I don't think I went that hard on her, which I don't know how you can think that you didn't. And I should have kept out the statements that I made about her appearance or her looks and just stuck with the fact that I think she's inauthentic, and I should have just stuck with that part of my commentary versus the appearance part of it. And that in itself is an issue. He could have saved all of that, but I knew he was forced into saying something. It was very calculated in the way he worded this so-called apology, and I'm using air quotes. You can't see me right now. And it's inauthentic. He hasn't learned a lesson about saying certain things about Black women. He hasn't learned a lesson because he's still being rewarded by being on that show. I did find it interesting that he said things about Lizzo that was not very nice. He said things about, he's really gone in on, what's the lady name? Hazel E. I think she's supposed to be some rap artist or whatever the case may be. When she had some kind of enhancement surgery in Turkey, he just dogged her all the way out, and there were no repercussions for that. So he doesn't have a reason based on his history for being apologetic for the things that he says. There's no reason for him to be sorry because he's constantly rewarded for the things that he says. And that's all I have to say right now.
Okay. Hey, Tracy.
I know the man that looked like the bottom of a podiatrist's foot ain't talking about nobody's looks. I know he ain't. I know absolutely not he ain't talking about nobody looks. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I had to go back. I was like, I know you ain't. I know there are some people that shouldn't be allowed to speak about certain and looks, and you shouldn't be allowed to talk about those. Absolutely not. Not at all. Not when you look like you do, and you've had surgery to try and fix it, and you still look like that. I'm sorry. I've scrolled through your Instagram. I'm watching you get all of your facial things done, and you still look like that.
And
And
he
you have
talked
the
about
nerve to
her
talk
fat
about me.
face. He
And
talked about her face being fat. Did you see his?
Oh,
Did you see
it's
his? I mean, I'm trying to understand.
it's real
I'm go- you're
swollen with
gonna
all that drinking you do.
Well, yeah, it's swollen with all the drinking. It's swollen with all of the Botox. It's swollen with all of whatever testosterone shots he's taken to try to gain, whatever the case may be. It's his face is swollen and unattractive, and he's
oh.
talking about this young lady's fat face without makeup on. It just didn't make any sense. And the other thing that I noticed, Al Reynolds laughed the entire time. I know that's your frat brother, but I'm gonna have to let him have it too.
Let him
Al
have it.
Reynolds, Al Reynolds sat there and laughed
Laugh
at
and Claudia did
everything,
not. Claudia
and
was
she did
so
not get
funny.
him together. He laughed because he thought it was funny.
Mhm.
So when this statement was made by you know who from Funky the next night, you know, Al was on mute all of a sudden. And I feel like this. If I was sitting on a panel and if L Teddy, Dr. L Teddy were to dog out someone in a manner that I thought that was just unjustified, I would have let Dr. Teddy know that ain't it. That's not cool. I don't find it funny. I'm not going to sit here on mute. So, but again, he is constantly rewarded for the things that he says. He went from his YouTube channel now to whatever the Sister Circle thing that got canceled, and now to Foxhole TGIF, and then he's done other appearances on a radio show in Miami. I don't know what that is, and then Dish Nation a few weeks ago. He's rewarded for his opinions, even if the opinions are hurtful, especially against Black women. He's constantly rewarded. There isn't a reason for him to stop and to take notice of how he's presenting himself. What reason would he have? He can continue on. And believe me, once this news cycle ends within the next 48 hours, he will revert back to his true feelings and he will continue on the tirade. It's not going to stop.
Um, and anybody who wants to come up to add commentary, you can. I've dropped the link a couple times. Mods, can y'all drop the link periodically in case I forget? Well, let me
Wait,
say.
did he say we're all ugly to someone?
Oh, that was
Hmm.
Cams that
Oh,
said that.
Cams, we're all ugly. Well, some of us are uglier than most. Let's be clear, because some look worse than others. And I know Al Loose Bottom ain't talking or laughing or giggling at nobody. Absolutely not. You know what?
Mm,
See, I've realized that Claudia only has smoke for certain people, and I'm gonna need
mm,
her to figure out when she need to open her mouth and when she
mm,
need to close it, and I'm gonna need her to fix that problem because it's real. It's getting real frustrating for her to be like, oh my gosh, I got all these DMs from all these Black women. Heifer, you a Black woman. You didn't say you didn't think nothing of it when it was girl, go to hell. You know what? See,
oh,
I can't with her. I can't
oh,
because she aggravates me. She
oh,
frustrates my spirit child. But
oh,
what I see, this is what I've realized.
mm,
This is what I've realized about this show. It's the hypocrisy of the fact that at one point in time it's protect them and then it's assault them and then it's talk bad about them and then it's key and then it's all good and then we just gonna pick and choose depending on the day what it is we gonna flow with, or it's gonna be our ratings aren't that good, so you know what we gonna do, we gonna let Funky off the leash and just go in and let have, so people will
mm.
start talking
Now
about
that's
it because
interesting.
this is what it's giving very much so we're not getting good ratings, so let them loose on the people. That's what this is giving me.
Wow, interesting that you would say that. Let me add this part, and I've said a little bit about this the other day. The thing about it is this: most people who consider themselves comedic and so forth in the early days before they, get put on and get national attention, they are raw, uncut, and saying some of the most unconscionable things you can probably imagine. And it works for that smaller audience that appreciates them. And then the audience starts to get a little bigger. But then there's the time where you transition to having a larger platform. And when you make that transition, you and your content have to transition as well. Understanding that when you have a larger audience, you can't spew and say everything that you might have been able to spew and say at the local improv or at the local comedy club where it's just the locals, don't nobody really know you except for the people there. You gotta toe the line. Otherwise, you're going to be find yourself not given larger and larger opportunities. Think about think about and quintessential, you may remember these. Remember those old Eddie Murphy stand-ups from the early
Wait
80s?
a minute, hold on now, honey. I mean, I know I'm a little bit seasoned out here in these streets, but wait a minute.
I
Yes,
remember them.
I
I
mean, I know.
remember
I
them.
Yeah, El Teddy,
remember.
you was like 38,
I was
39. Of
like
course you will
28 years
remember.
old at the time.
I remember Raw, and I remember Delirious. I
Right.
remember
Those,
those.
those
I
are the
remember when
two
they
that I'm thinking
first.
about.
Yeah, I remember
And
when
think
they
about
first
some of
came
the
out. I
stuff.
remember that, and the things that I think it was
He,
Delirious was first. I think this is when he. This is I think it was Delirious, whichever one it was that was first. I can't remember exactly. Eddie Murphy was very the things he said about gay people, things he said about Mr. T, the things that he said about black women and Goonie Goo Goo and all that kind of stuff. I think that was in Delirious. African women or whatever. It was, I mean, at the time, that was a time where the type of humor, what people said, wasn't viewed as being,
problematic.
nobody looked at it as being insulting or
Yeah.
problematic. People said a
But
lot of stuff.
the
Now,
point that I'm
that
making
was
is,
but that was the 80s though. That was the
but
80s.
even in the 80s, think about Eddie Murphy. The Delirious and the Raw, what was that targeted toward? Black people, black
Oh
Delirious
audience.
came
yeah.
first.
We
Yeah.
saw that. The
Yeah.
larger white majority wasn't watching Delirious and Raw. You understand what I'm saying? But as he started to make movies and stuff like that, that was getting a more national,
Hmm.
attention, you noticed Eddie Murphy was real much more watered down.
Oh,
It wasn't
he didn't do that type of humor anymore.
right.
It
He could
wasn't about, and he did apologize. I think it was in Raw when he finally said, "Oh, I got a lot of backlash for the things that I said about the gay community, and Mr. T didn't like the things I said, and black women didn't like the things that I said, and blah blah blah." He did try, I would say, to clean it up as much as he could for the 80s, or
it's
he thought
Friday,
was
y'all.
good. I see that. I see that. I see it. But it was a different time, and the humor was definitely different at that time. Yes, Eddie Murphy made a change when he started doing more movies.
Hmm.
He got away from that type of vulgarity, that type of very
Because he wanted
not
to
politically
secure the
correct.
bag.
But even at the time when I heard it, and I was not an adult when I heard the jokes and stuff like that. Even the adults around me, they were laughing at it. No
Hmm.
one had a problem with anything that Eddie Murphy had to say back at that time. I didn't really understand it to the extent until I got older.
Well,
Like,
I'm gonna
oh,
say
okay,
like this: when Funky's YouTube channel, his
hmm,
audience, they love it.
oh
If
yeah.
he had done that on his YouTube platform, his audience would have had nothing to say about
No,
it. It
I
would
think
have
I
been
disagree with that. Because they had something to say. He On his YouTube channel, he had a problem with Blue Ivy's appearance. He thought she was ugly. He thought the hair wasn't right. He had a problem with OG from I think his Basketball Wives, and they had a problem with that. And people did say something, but it wasn't to the magnitude I would say that on Fox Soul, a different
exactly.
type of platform. Even though it's still on YouTube, it didn't hit the way it did hit on his own personal YouTube channel, but he definitely did get some backlash about Blue Ivy, in particular Blue Ivy, when he talked about her because it still comes up even right now as we're criticizing him. People say, "How you remember he talked about a child being ugly?" Remember that? That still comes up.
So, are we saying that Funky's audience is that audience that's like right between Zeus and mainstream? Is that where his audience is? It's like right on the
I'm not
cusp.
going to say that's his
So,
audience. I'm going to say he has not changed his content from his YouTube persona. And
correct.
as transition, you got to grow and transition from that.
But
You
if
have
he,
to make the pivot, and he refuses to make the pivot. Now, here's the deal. You know someone else who sometimes is that way and doesn't make the pivot, and they have a big audience too? T.S. Madison.
Yes,
Same
that is
way. And I'm
yes,
gonna tell you, I
that is
get
true.
treated that is well as well too. And the thing about it, and the common denominator in all three of us is all of us are from the same area,
Mm-hmm.
and all of us are around the same age. I think T.S.
Mm-hmm.
Madison is like a year or two older than me, and I think I'm a year or two older than Funky. And so,
Weren't you at Florida
um,
State University with Funky?
yeah, I was.
Okay.
And I'm gonna leave all of that history because I got a whole lot of things that I could say, but I'm not
Okay.
gonna talk about the
Well, you
history because
okay?
people gonna think that I'm just gonna keep it together. That's for we might talk about that in members only. That might be a members
Okay.
only.
I think that should be
We might,
members only because I
yeah,
want to
yeah.
hear what
We can
that
do that in
is.
members only because I
Okay.
sure got some things to say. Anyway,
Okay.
also there's stories back from Miami.
Mm-hmm.
hmm Anyway, but what the point that I'm making is if when you everybody who I meet from my area, we all kind of get the same stick where y'all a little too abrasive, y'all a little too harsh, y'all a little too raw, y'all don't know how to keep it together, y'all don't know how to respect people's feelings and emotions. And that's kind of how all of us kind of get put into that box and viewed. And there does come a time, and I've talked to many people from my area about this. You gotta censor yourself. You can't say everything that you want to say. Funky, let's be clear. Let's be clear. I don't know. I can't see into the future, but Chloe is a lot bigger of a star than you are, and perhaps than you may ever be. I don't know. You might go on to be stratospheric, but let's just be clear. Chloe, Blue Ivy haven't even, you know, done anything but be Beyonce's daughter, and she's still a bigger name and bigger star than you'll ever be. And she just be a Blue Ivy. Who's
Well, I
unpopular
think,
opinion?
but he's on a network, Fox. Let's just keep that also real. He's on Fox,
Hold
and
on
yes, they
one
have
second,
this.
Quintessential. I wanna I don't know who this is,
Oh,
but
okay.
I just want to bring them on so they could say, hey, unpopular opinion.
Hey, El Teddy, it's me, Phil.
Oh, hey Phil, I had to make sure, I don't need nobody coming up here pouring bombing and stuff. It didn't say Phil. I had to look and say, wait, who is this? Normally yours say Phil. Let me take this off and put a banner on. I had to look, Phil, and see what's going on, boo.
How y'all doing? Good evening, ladies and gents, people in the
I'm all
chat.
right. I am all right. I'm trying to make
So, okay, so y'all don't kill me, nobody. Don't nobody kill
You
me.
can have a difference of opinion. We here for difference of opinion.
Are we really shocked at what he said? Because to me, it's on brand for what he normally does. So I wasn't that shocked.
Well,
I
that's
wasn't
the
shocked
thing. I
either.
don't
I
think we're
wasn't
shocked.
shocked. No, I wasn't
I don't.
shocked.
We're saying that the problem is he has not learned that you can't just do this and say this on that big of a stage. He hasn't made that transition to where sir, you got to make some of this stuff palatable because you're on much more of a national platform. Because if you say the wrong thing, these people gonna dog walk you.
But he was
But see,
hired to do what he's doing. So Phil is absolutely correct. No shock at what he's saying. It's on brand. It's exactly his brand. And he was hired to do exactly
well,
what he did. I'm
well,
just
clearly
saying.
his HR person didn't feel the same since he got emails telling him that he needed to apologize. So clearly he took it a step too far. And
Well, yeah. Okay.
but here's the
Yeah.
problem, right? The story wasn't even about her. The story was about her sister. So it's like
Mhm.
you went left about and talking about somebody who the story was about one person. Okay, she defended her. Who doesn't defend a sister? So you then took it and added your own context to the additional part of the story to add your 2 cents in about the way the other person looked. That wasn't the crux of the core of the story. But okay, and now you're clearly getting messages from the people above you telling you you took it too far.
No,
Now,
and then you tried the double down. I don't think anybody realized or paid attention to the double down. The real double down was when he said, "I really didn't go that hard at her."
Oh, I paid attention to it.
That
I knew exactly
was
what
the
he was
double
saying
down.
there,
Because
and
he
that
was
was on
saying,
brand.
"Girl, I could have really dog
So,
walked you, but I took it easy on you, girl."
Phil is right.
so
He was
my
on
thing,
brand.
so one of the things I noticed the tweets and stuff from everybody, but it's like, did y'all look at Funky? Like, are we really caring about who he say is attractive and who is not?
We're not.
Well,
Like,
social media cared because he was trending. So apparently, despite how he looked, it was a lot of cares.
I mean, people cared enough to make a whole. I seen a whole bunch of side by sides of him and various animals, various inanimate objects and things that I saw him side by side with, and I was like, "Oh, oh, girl." Mm.
it's just that's just what he does, and then Auntie Al sitting right there looking crazy.
Oh, not Auntie
You,
Al.
you at what Funky says, because if you really listen to his YouTube channel, like I do, I am a fan. Some things he spot on the money, but a lot of times his statements are like really cruel and mean. My issue with everybody is, I remember when the OG and Evelyn situation came out, he said that she was ugly and like nobody paid attention to that. He said it wasn't a colorism issue. He was like, she just mad because she's ugly and nobody took up for her. So I just don't, it's just on brand for Funky to be nasties. So I'm not
Mm.
shocked.
mm, so
Yeah, I don't think any of us is shocked. I think that it's a situation where you say, "Hey, hi pot, meet kettle." If you're gonna be in a position to be calling people ugly, but girl, I guess I'm. Y'all see, I'm being real deliberate and intentional in what I say, real selective and censoring myself because I don't want to go down the road that could be less traveled. So I'm gonna just censor myself. But yeah, I just and even Chloe's response to him was real. Not down that she was like, girl, she said something. She said, get help, I think.
as we all are telling him, because clearly he needs it.
Mm.
But so I think what we are saying is, how many times do we need to continuously repeat this cycle before you realize that maybe it's you, maybe you need to grow out of this genre, and maybe truly he never will, maybe he is where he wants to be, and maybe he's happy there. So maybe we're all wrong for thinking that he wants to raise the bar higher. I mean, maybe he's
Well,
happy where he's at.
I would say this. People say he has a right to his opinion, and we all have a right to our opinion. However, in the words of Really B, I think that we have to also be cognizant of the fact that I can't sit up here and just be deliberately like insulting to the point of it really isn't warranted to be to that level of insulting that he did. He talked about this girl's looks, and we know that
Hmm. We've seen
we
it.
know he don't have any room to talk about it. Would have made a difference if it had been somewhat of a more attractive. Let's say, what's his name? I think he's a little bit more attractive. Let's say if it had been Apollo Nida from Real Housewives of Atlanta, just randomly, somebody random, if he'd have sat on that panel and said the exact same thing about everything that Funky said, if it was Apollo Nida, would have it resonate the same way? Would people have responded the same way with someone who is, for the most part, people think is far more attractive if you want to rate attractiveness? If you're looking at the source of the messenger who's giving the information or who's saying you don't look good without makeup on, your face is fat. Would it have made a difference?
No,
I'm just curious.
no,
I don't know that. I don't know that they would have said that though,
no.
because
But I agree. So I don't. True. I don't think they would have said it. But I don't think the response would have been any different because I think the thing is because she is naturally very unproblematic, people aren't responding well to the very aggressive, problematic statement being directed at. Had had Azalea Banks been the person that comment was directed at, I don't think anybody would have cared. Had that
concur.
comment been directed at Doja Cat, who right now nobody's featuring, I don't think people would have cared. I think
I
because
concur.
she's I think because she's not a problematic person, people are. I don't even think it's because most people don't find her to be unattractive. I don't even think that's our problem. I think it's because we look at her and we're like, she's not problematic. Yes, she's trying to figure out herself in music. She's trying to do whatever, but even she's not a problematic person. She's
I
just
think
defending her
the
sister
bigger
liberty.
thing is especially not so much the people in the comment section, but when HR sent that email, HR did, well, not HR, the higher ups sent that email to HR to send to him because the higher ups looked and did a real quick, let me look at the demographics. Oh, our highest demographic is black women, and this motherfucker out here talking about black women. Yeah, y'all need to go check him because they already ain't got the best ratings in the world, and their best ratings are coming from black women. And they over here, yeah, go ahead and talk to him, have him walk that back because the little bit of subscribers that they do got, they about to lose them, and we don't got the type of time. That would be like me coming on here and dog walking black women on my platform, knowing that I have a high percentage of viewers that are black women. Y'all would now I do know my women in my chat, they would drag me. Y'all would drag me in my chat. And I know y'all are strong ass of black women who would dog walk and drag me. And if I do say anything that y'all don't like, y'all always dog walk and drag me. And
Now you know I would have showed up in your area in full spring 90 form, and it wouldn't have been cute.
That's what I'm saying. And so you have to know your audience. And when I say know your audience, I'm not saying know your audience to say don't be your real, true, authentic self, but you have to know yourself and know your audience. If Funky Dineva caters his content to gay men, gay black men, and straight black women, that's a lot of what his content is catered to and how he is focused his content. So if you harbor these, feelings about, I'm not saying he harbors these feelings about all black women, but we are starting to develop a pattern. You done talked about Beyonce Child. You done talked about Chloe. There have been other black women that you talked about, and their looks and stuff like that. So we do see a pattern, which says to us that there's something internal. There's some internal issues that you have with black women, and that is a problem. That's a problem. Little baby, what's going on, my love?
Nothing much. Nothing much. Just sitting back listening. I would have to say, I think his issue, I think he has poor impulse control. Because I do follow him on IG. I'm subscribed to his YouTube. I watch his videos. I don't watch every single video. I don't agree with all of his thoughts and opinions because some things are just, he's the kind of person to often believe that because it's different is right. And that's not always the case. Just because there's this different type of relationship dynamic does not mean that it's the right kind of relationship dynamic, you know? So I think he has poor impulse control. If you look back to where he started to where he is now, he has really cleaned himself up, because he used to be terrible when he was in Atlanta. But now he says that he has anxiety, and his anxiety will cause him to want to go and purchase random food items in the middle of the night. His anxiety could possibly trigger him to want to just say whatever on his mind at that moment, with no regard to how it's going to get how it's going to hit someone. Yet at the same time, he is saying that he wants to clean up his image, because his whole thing of even doing away with the whole Funky Dineva character with the hair and the makeup is that's not marketable. He wants to make himself more marketable. So it's contradictory to say, hey, I want to clean up my act and be more marketable, yet at the same time say what he just said about Chloe. Like, you can't think that talking about someone's looks isn't going to garner that kind of attention. But to a little bit of Tracy's point, it's who he talked about. Chloe don't bother nobody. So everybody essentially ran to protect her. But not too long ago, and when I say not too long ago, I mean the other day, he was saying Britney Spears was shaped like an omelet. And ain't nobody say nothing. Everybody sat back and laughed.
He talked about Hazel E like a doggone dog.
I mean, she talked about black women like a dog on dog, so that's why nobody cared.
So, I mean, but Hazel E is a black woman, and he talked about her repeatedly, not just one time, not only on his own personal channel, but on that show. And no one said anything about
right, because
that
no
woman
one cares for Hazel E.
Well, exactly. That's that's the point that I think a little baby was saying, and both Tracy is saying. He talked about her. She went and had breast implants that went wrong, or in Turkey, or whatever the case may be, and he just dog walked her. And people say, well, Hazel Lee is trash. I don't know much about the woman, so I can't speak on what type of person she is.
The point that you're making, Quintessential, is when that door is opened, people are going to walk through that door. And now they've allowed him to walk through that door so many times unchecked. Now he feels empowered because he's been empowered. He's been told, oh, okay, go ahead. We'll see it for them. And I think the miscalculation was he thought that he still had that ability to just talk about Chloe the way he has other black women. And black women were like, now, wait a minute. Now, Chloe ain't did nothing to you. Chloe ain't did nothing to nobody. She's not problematic. And I think that we have to stop it. Even if it's a black woman that's problematic, it still should be said, focus, sir. You ain't got to dog walk this woman and her looks. You ain't got to dog walk her and all. Even though we don't care for her like that, we don't really see it for her like that. This ain't conversation. This is not commentary between friends. Now, and that's where I think sometimes people who are influencers or content creators or YouTubers or whatever, you have to know there's a difference between conversation between me and the girls, colloquial conversations where we want to dog walk somebody, them and they looks, and we can talk about everything, we could do that. But then when you get on the platform that's in front of a larger audience, that ain't something that you should be doing, whether or not you do like that person, because you will fall for the sauce and think, oh, they let me talk about Hazel Lee. Oh, they let me talk about OG and they ain't say nothing. Oh, they let me talk about this person and they ain't say nothing. Well, I can talk about Chloe too. And he miscalculated.
I can say that because one thing that's Funky's positive is also his negative. People are looking at him at entertainment and they do enjoy that kitchen table talk. That is something that people enjoy right now. People enjoy straight shooters. People enjoy quote unquote honesty. But at the same time, he definitely needs to work on when to shut it off. Because he does go overboard, and that same thing that's getting him these deals is going to be the same thing that cuts him at the knee. Because if he said that, you don't think someone over at Parkwood wasn't watching that? You don't think somebody made a call to someone somewhere and said, yeah, if his name comes across this table, we're not doing it. We're not going to work with him. He just closed a door or some doors somewhere, even though he likes to tell his audience, I do want to make myself more marketable. I do want to do other things. Well, sir, you can't continue. You have to get your impulse control issues that you got. You have to bring those together.
I'm gonna say what I was about to say for we're gonna have to do a members only live where I really can talk unbridled and unapologetically, because there are some things that I really want to say about some history here, because this is not new. There's a history behind all of this, but I want to save it and reserve it.
See, now if Funky would just do stuff like that, he would be fine. Look it.
Well, yeah, we want to hear, because we don't have that level of context. What we have is what we've seen. If you watch a video on YouTube, and what we see or hear him say on this Fox Soul show, and when it gets to this, I think what he did was he thought, because he doesn't have an issue with causing controversy, because I think that's one of the reasons he was hired on that show, was because it's a non-politically correct show. It's the show that supposedly everybody speaks their raw thoughts and feelings, as opposed to being so buttoned up on a
Even
network.
you have people that are
Well,
Al Reynolds.
I don't know if Claudia Jordan is all that buttoned up, but Al, yes, Claudia is almost right there with Funky, in my opinion. I think has learned how to kind of like hold it back a little bit, whereas Funky hasn't learned how to do that yet. And Al already knows, like, okay, I'm gonna sit back and watch, and I'll just laugh and won't say anything, and nobody's gonna pay attention to me. And which is what has happened in this latest situation. If you notice any controversy that comes off of that show, Funky is at the center of it for the most part. It's not Claudia, it's not Al. It's usually Funky, because that's who's hired to do the very out of the box type of commentary. It just backfired this time around. And again, as I said at the top before I get off of this panel, if he isn't reprimanded in a manner that hits his pockets, he will continue to do exactly what he has done. Just let the news cycle die down for a couple of days, and let some other black woman get in the media and say something that he doesn't like, or whatever the case may be, and he goes off on a tangent. We'll be back at square one. There isn't any reason that I can see on his part that he would need to change up his way of saying what he thinks. There's no reason for that. I don't see a reason for it. The backlash is not reason enough, because he's still on the show and he's still doing what he needs to do. He still has all of his promotions and other things that he's involved in. So there's no reason to change it up for right now. I don't think so. But anyway, I'll let you guys keep talking about it. Thanks for having me on the panel. Talk to you guys later.
Thank you, Quintessential, my love. Thank you. You know who I think about when we talk about this, and this is somebody who's on the other side. There's precedent for people saying the most horrible things about people and continuing to rise higher and reap the rewards. And I look at somebody like a Dave Chappelle, who said some of the most horrible and insidious things about people, and have had no consequences. Matter of fact, continues to reap the benefits, continue to get deals, continues to get opportunities. And even when the community to which he is offending and assaulting verbally is making us think about it. He continues to be. I know he just had. I think the other day he had a 50th birthday party, and everybody and their mama was there, and nobody batted an eye. And this man is castigating and verbally assaulting whole communities of people, but nobody says anything about that either. So
Well, we can also pin this on your most recently indicted former president. That man
yeah,
has an entire cult behind him, and he has talked about people with mental issues, challenges, delays,
yeah,
whatever you want to call it. He called a fellow politician's wife ugly, and people still ran
yeah.
to the polls and put him in office, and he still has his political backing.
Mm-hmm.
He is still leading in the polls amongst all Republican candidates,
He is,
even though the Republicans don't want
and
him
is openly racist, openly,
openly.
like unapologetic about it. Hey, Xavier.
Everyone.
I'm not gonna talk about the fact that you rolled up in my class late today, but we ain't have no late bell today, Xavier. Just be glad. No late bell today. You still owe me essays, plural. Hey, Xavier Boo, what's going
One, I just want to say that Funky is a crackhead, and
on? Oh
of course
wow,
he went,
girl.
and of course he did what crackhead usually do. He
Mm,
spot off out the mouth about nothing because it didn't. His response didn't even make sense to what was being discussed. It didn't make any sort of tangible sense that you have a that the clip was Chloe defending her sister and you talking about how ugly she is and how inauthentic she is. That is like two separate conversations. Are you okay, Funky? Are you back on that crack? You back on that shit?
oh wow, oh
That's
wow.
all I got from that because I just feel like Funky. I get Funky's whole thing is going off on people, but when you at the point where you are like connecting dots that aren't there to have a moment to go off, that seems inauthentic to me. Since he wants to talk about judge people's authenticness, especially since he wants to judge what's real and what's not. When he started his content being inauthentic, since you came on here with wigs and makeup, looking a clown ass mess, but we don't
Yeah,
see you in
he
wigs
was
now.
very inauthentic.
Now you're saying this is the real you. So you were faking now. So you built your platform off being inauthentic, but you now want to blame Chloe for what you view as being inauthentic. Funky, get the fuck out of here.
Oh dear.
Well, tell us how you really feel, Xavier. Xavier came in swinging for the yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, Xavier. Yes, ma'am. Xavier said you're a whole ass crackhead. Let's be clear. That's Xavier said you're a crackhead.
And I don't care if it was
You
really
think he had a
Chloe.
bump
Crack all
before
the
the
same to
live?
me.
You think he had a bump before the live? I'm just asking. I don't know.
I think he did because that would explain his outburst because that's what it was, an outburst. It didn't make any sense what he was like. Even you can see like Claudia and Al's faces while he was speaking. It didn't. They were like, "Where is he going with this? What are you saying?" Because it didn't make sense with the topic at hand. It was an inappropriate response.
Whether it was drug induced or not, again, that was an impulse thing. He has to get control of his impulses.
Like you
That is
have
going
to,
that his impulses are his Achilles heel.
and you have to manage that. Like I might right now have an impulse to go in and let have and tell all of the things that I know in my head, but I say nope, nope, not gonna do that. I might save it for a members only live where I know that's just us, the family, and we could do that. And there's the difference. You have to know time and place.
Yep.
Time and goddamn place. And even if you felt that about Chloe, you could, even if he would have stopped with the inauthentic, I think he would have been fine. And he
He would
realized
have. He would have, because I can say this. I agree with the inauthenticity of Chloe Bailey and why her music career is successful. There are a multitude of people who agree with that sentiment. But again, he lost. No one paid attention to the front part of that part because of what he did later. That was completely unnecessary and asinine.
Funky don't know his place. That's the problem. He don't know his place and who the fuck he be talking to sometimes, and that's why he gets into troubles. That's the same reason why he got into trouble the last time with Beyonce when he was talking about Blue Ivy. And then now you're gonna do this to her protege. And I get people are questioning Chloe's inauthenticity, but here's what I want to say: when Chloe and her sister were in a group, people were so pushing forward for Chloe to go solo. Chloe's so sexier than Halle. Chloe's all this. But now that she's done all that, now you're dragging her for the reasons that you want her to go solo in the first place. It seems like a setup from somebody who has watched Chloe from since she was on YouTube. So
Harold said, Xavier, remind me never to get on your bad side because I'm not even going to argue with you. I'll just start crying. You're a horrible person. I'm glad I'm not mean like you, Xavier. I'm glad I am nice to people. And I'm glad I have never drugged anyone on my platform.
Nobody. I just think the facts. He said he's a crackhead. I didn't make this up. Shit.
I want to say what I know so bad, but I'm going to be quiet.
Maybe he's always told us the light version of the stuff that he's done. Because I know he said he's done his share of drugs, and he's done his share of drugs with people who a lot of us would be shocked even do said share drugs. And yeah, I remember when that moment in time in his career where he was couch surfing in Atlanta before he finally moved back to Atlanta. That was very down. He was down bad. Oh.
To God be all of the glory for all of the
Funky.
things.
We could talk about you. People just choosing not to.
I don't know many stories about. I just know what he's told us.
I know little baby
circumventing stories from people.
Little baby, you know what Tallahassee gave when you were there. Imagine Tallahassee when we were there before social media, before all.
Listen, I was just telling my friend last year how I'm not even attending homecoming this year because last year when I came through that little bit of time, it was completely different from what I remember when I was at FAMU. So I can only imagine what went on when y'all were there.
And I would argue homecomings and games and stuff were bigger back then. And girl, the things that we used to do, girl, people didn't even have camera phones back then. People barely had cell phones back then. They damn sure they have no camera phone. You weren't texting nobody about nothing. If you was gonna do anything, you had to call them, and they weren't able to see anything. Girl, the amount of stuff. Girl, let me shut up. Anyway, yeah. So
just go to school with y'all, Miss Gillum,
Quentin.
No, Andrew Gillum. Didn't he go to school with y'all? You and Funky?
With me.
He had a white boy on his arm back then too.
I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna talk about anything in the open. However,
we had that live ages ago in March when COVID started.
We did, didn't we?
I remember that because I had to go to urgent care because my back was starting to spasm and I needed some muscle relaxers.
Sure, because I've done a live or that young man before. And I didn't even talk about everything in that live. Child, if we could go back.
I follow his whore on Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah. So I understand. Let me be quiet. But it's so funny. It's so funny to me. What do y'all think? Do y'all think he's gonna get fired? I could see them firing him.
No. I mean, this has
Why?
happened before where he's been caught up in controversy. He said some stuff. He or all three of them got caught up in something. I can't remember, but this isn't the first time. I doubt it'll be the last time. Like Quintessential said a little bit prior, in order for him to really care, his dollar is gonna have to be affected. Because one thing about him that he holds very dear to his heart is his ability to live leisurely. He has an apartment in downtown Miami, near he has waterfront view. He lives a very nice, comfortable lifestyle. In order for him to really get the message that he needs to straighten up, something's gonna have to be affected for that to be rocked up.
He really deserves.
But again, right now, he's being rewarded. He has his other show in Miami on the radio where he comes in. Well, I won't say his show, but he has like
Is
a little
it
guest
99
spot.
Jail or Hot 105? I wonder.
I think it's 97.9.
97.9.
I think y'all are giving Fox Soul a lot. Fox Soul is a controversial
Or Power
network.
96.
Okay. I knew it was something with a 9. But yeah,
I
he has his little segment in the
Power
afternoon.
96 or 99 Jam, but I know it ain't. I don't think it's Hot 105 because that's for older people.
Yeah, he does like the afternoon rush, and I think he only does it on Fridays. And he have like his other little hosting gigs. Like he's been afforded a lot of opportunities to do these little hosting guest spots. Even Essence, him being with Fox Soul has gotten him gigs with Essence Fest. He and Al were there.
Well, you know, Essence came out yesterday and did a whole thing on Chloe. They did a whole spot for Chloe.
And
like,
again,
oh, you want to come at Chloe? Well, let us do a whole feature on Chloe.
And that is where he has to watch his mouth because people are looking and these people talk, and he should know better because he's in a fraternity. He already knows how this works.
He is. But I'm gonna keep quiet. I'm not gonna say nothing.
I know, L. Teddy.
Don't do this, L. Teddy. Shut the hell up, L. Teddy, because you got way too much information. Shut up, L. Teddy. Go ahead, little baby. I'm shutting up.
Yeah, like he understands. He's the main one who will talk about the importance of networking and people knowing your name, the value and weight that you carry in your name. And again, he's cognizant that the whole Funky Dineva brand of him and the wigs and the makeup and the loud talking and the super sassiness was not going to get him very far, and he needed to kill that and change it up his image. So it's so contradictory.
I'm telling y'all, I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it right now. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna wait and let it subside. We're gonna do a whole members only live about this because I got so much. I'm itching right now. I'm literally scratching myself to really do a whole breakdown. But we'll save it for members only live.
Please do, because I want to hear.
And honestly, I would figure that last time where he and old girl got into it, and he on his blog was like posting checks from whomever it was, I think at NBC, etc. I figure he would have learned from his last lesson not to be so reckless at the mouth and just understand there are certain people you can't talk about, and then there are certain people, and then if you can talk about them, there is a certain way to talk about them. You can't. There are limits to this. He should know there are politics to this, and people are watching. I follow a lot. I will follow some comedians, and the thing on that circuit is a lot of people from Hollywood go to these comedy clubs and they're sitting in the audience and they're recording these people's jokes and they're taking them back to Hollywood and putting them on screen, and now it's no longer your joke. It belongs to the studio. These people are watching you, even when you think they're not.
Yeah. I mean,
You don't know who's in your audience. The numbers are just that, they're numbers, but you don't know if number 105 is over talent over at ABC.
well, I'll say this. In order, like I said, and I've been preaching this to the choir. Now, you can take as many bumps as you want, but when you take your bump, sir, ma'am, doll baby, understand that you need to know that that bump is going to, you know, sir. Well, I'll say like this. I know people who are on drugs, and there are two types of people who are on drugs. There's the person who's on drugs, and it makes them way more out of control, way more erratic, way more, extremes of emotional impulses. And then there are the people who do drugs, and they become much more quiet and reserved, and they become much more introverted. Clearly, Mr. Lathan, you're the former as opposed to the latter. You're the one who goes on impulses and outbursts. Shit, that doesn't bode well. Now, like I said, I don't know. Mama did give me that she had a bump before the show, but I don't know because, like we said, the shit came out of nowhere, and I don't even. I think that as as a viewer, we don't even have a problem when people go on these tirades. You know what I'm saying? You could go on a tirade if it fits the topic. There are certain topics that when we talk about, it may be the catalyst for some rant and outburst, and it makes it. But this right here didn't even make no goddamn sense. We was like, wait, how did we get to Chloe being ugly and having a fat face? Really? But that's his wheelhouse. That's his go-to. Oh, you ugly. Oh, da 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 da. Now here's the point that I was going to make earlier. If that is your go-to, that's because that's one of your insecurities, and
it's a valid insecurity to have.
That is his insecurity. He probably done
I
been
can see
called
that.
ugly from the time he was 3 or 4 years old. Because if you
Yep.
ugly, you ugly, and you done
Yep.
been called ugly 8 million times by the time you get to 4 decades on this planet. So if you'd have been called ugly 8,675,222 times in your lifetime that you could remember, then you want to project that on anyone else, however you see fit to do that. Even people who aren't deserving of that. But
Yeah, I didn't understand talking about that child's looks. Like, that was ridiculous. That was utterly ridiculous. And then your entertainment, you already know, especially with women, how looks are their weight in gold. Aging is always a topic. How to age gracefully, or how to look 25 when you're 75. And all the new, everyone's on Ozempic now. And that drug is
okay,
becoming difficult for diabetics as a result.
yeah.
Like you're and that also upset me because, sir, you're now going to get fillers and Botox, and I'm saying in the back of my mind, do you know what fillers and Botox actually do to your face in the long run? Like, now they're starting to talk about it. Now they're starting to talk about what fillers and Botox are doing to these women's faces.
Because Botox, let's be clear, wasn't originally made for cosmetic surgery.
I mean, I wouldn't dare put botulins in my face. I wouldn't do it. And the fillers has him looking very puffy. I personally do not find them attractive on his face. I preferred his face when it was slim.
Honestly, Funky looked better when he was in drag. I don't know why.
Oh wow.
And Cams, honestly, that's what fillers lead to. That excessive amount of fillers. You have to think about gravity. You're putting liquid in a balloon. Eventually, it's going to stretch, and eventually,
I'm not
your
doing
face
this
is
with
going to
y'all.
fall faster than what you think, and you're going to end up getting a facelift anyway.
Oh my God, y'all are so stupid.
Doctors are now saying that. Now they're coming and telling people that.
After they done made all their money off y'all.
Exactly.
Okay, because they're gonna get their money.
That was the goop of the whole past 2 decades, filling your face with hyaluronic acid and silicone just to tell you come in my office for a facelift because the mess done messed you up anyway.
Child, I'm not doing this with Xavier. I'm not doing this. Where's Janae when we need her? Our medical expert.
He looks good with in drag. Y'all didn't think he looked better in drag?
No.
No, ma'am.
It was just me. Well, at least when he had drag, his face looked moisturized. His lips
It
were
didn't.
moist.
Don't lie to him.
No.
Don't lie to him.
Very first started, but like in the
No,
mid range, like with
never. It never looked moisturized. It looked like a crackhead with a wig on and some lipstick.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I don't call only time I will call someone ugly is if I feel their spirit is ugly. But for the most part, I have always said he's an acquired looking man, and I just kept it at that.
You know what we call him in Miami, and Funky doesn't even knows this term. It's so he's a baser. That's what we call him. We call him a baser with a wig and some lipstick on. That's what the hell we will call him. What the fuck is this baser? This base head with a wig and some lipstick on. What the fuck is this crackhead ass baser? That's what we would say. That's what people say. I'm just saying. This is because
and drink some water, eat more fruits, drink some berries and nuts. Since he wanted to be talking about everybody with a small back every time, we could
no Harold. The people should not call him Cicely Tyson.
Exactly.
Tyson. Call him who he is, Miss Jane Pittman. When Cicely Tyson had to get all that makeup on her to become Miss Jane Pittman. That's what they need to call him, Miss Jane Pittman. And if you were never forced to watch Miss Jane Pittman and your K through 12 education, what year did I have to watch Miss Jane Pittman? I think I was in like 6th or 7th grade or something, but I had to watch that movie when Cicely Tyson played that old lady.
Listen, when I saw
all I've
Miss
known of
Jane
Cicely is
Pittman
when
in
she
her
was old.
old age, that makeup they put on Cicely, that lady looked like she was ready for the. She was already there.
Yeah. And listen, Xavier, think of it like this. What year did Miss Jane Pittman come out? Let me see. Miss Jane Pittman. Let me see what year that movie came out. Because it was a made for TV movie. It came out in 1974. Okay. Cicely Tyson was still young back then.
Exactly.
And so that tells you, Xavier, how long ago it was. She was still young. And they put a whole bunch of makeup on Cicely Tyson to make her look real old. It made her look older than Cicely Tyson looked when she was actually old.
She did not look like an old person. She looked like she had been in the casket already.
Yep. Did. Oh, so don't say he looked like Cicely Tyson. Say he looked like Miss Jane Pittman.
Because Cicely was a baddie in Roots. She looked good in Roots.
Roots came out in the 70s. And Miss Jane Pittman came out. I think Miss Jane Pittman came out before Roots. What year did Roots come out?
Let me see. Because Miss Jane Pittman came out in 74, right? Let's see.
Ruth had to be the 70s.
I know Roots was the 70s, but I know it was after
77.
Miss Jane Pittman.
It was 3 years later.
It came out in set right 3 years later. So she was younger in Miss Jane Pittman than she was in the autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman than she was in Roots.
Now that's a
So
damn shame. Who directed that? Let me look that up.
who directed what? Roots?
No, Jane Pittman.
Oh, I don't remember, but I remember having to watch it in elementary or middle school, something like that.
Joan Cordy. A
And
white
they had
man.
all that makeup on her. They made her look real old.
Well, I'm gonna step off. Nice speaking to you guys.
You're very welcome. I'm about to get off in a little bit. Anyway, I've been on here. I said I was only going to be on here 45 minutes. We are an hour and 20 minutes in.
Nice speaking to you, Mr. Xavier.
Xavier over there taking care of kids. Anyway, Silly Saturday will be tomorrow. Y'all excited about Silly Saturday tomorrow? I got to get my palate cleansers ready today. So I'm going to go do that when I get up off here.
I'm so sorry. All these little kids of mine.
She did look like Death and Miss Jane Pittman, Yana. They had Cicely Tyson looking bad. And she was young back then, too. I mean, as young as you can be. I mean, I think she, at that time, in the 70s, I think Cicely Tyson might have been in her 50s or 40s. Let me see. What year was Cicely Tyson born? Let me see what year Cicely Tyson was born. Cicely Tyson was born in 1924. So in 1974, she was already 50. Wow. She was already 50 in 1974. Interesting. And she died at what, 90 and 96 or something like that. I think she was when she died, something like that. Mm. Anyway, um, Xavier, my love. Xavier, my love.
Yes, I'm here still.
You have anything else for the people before we get out of here?
Nothing much. You still a
Everybody's a
crackhead.
crackhead. That's what Xavier has. Everybody's a fucking crackhead.
Well, to get off that shit, y'all. Get off that shit. That's all I gotta say. Get off
No,
of it.
we gonna have a members only live sometime in the next few days. When we gonna talk. We really gonna talk unbridled about this, where I can really be uncensored. We're gonna talk about some stuff. Also, if you're a member, you can join the members only chat, which we know the members only chat is off the chain. So I would, encourage and admonish you, if you want to get the real tea and the real story, join the membership. It's not even that expensive. There are 3 different levels, of membership that you could join, and you could be a part of the fun. Or we really gonna talk about some real stuff, some real stories and anecdotes. Yes. So please consider joining membership, and you can be a part of that members only live where I can tell some real candid stories that I have. We'll be live from Silly Saturday tomorrow. That is all I got for y'all. As I always say, I love y'all. I love on y'all. Thank you all for being vocal, present, and active. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for any and all contributions that you make to the channel. They're much obliged. They're much appreciated. Listen, I'm going to go look for those snacks that Quintessential asked me to go get. So I'm going to go look for some of those today. And if you want to add to the snack fund, it's scrolling across the bottom. Feel free to add to the snack fund. Shondo's to you and yours. Listen, y'all be ready tomorrow because y'all know we're gonna have a good time on Silly Saturday. Please be here. I'm gonna try to set up the Silly Saturday live tonight. That way it'll be ready for tomorrow, and then y'all can share it out and all that good stuff. Be here, have your face in the place tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time for Silly Saturday. We're gonna do it big like we always do for our flagship show of every week and on this program. That's all I got for y'all. Until next time, thank y'all for coming. Y'all drive safely. I'm out.